All right, welcome to this high-octane explainer. We're diving straight into the mechanics of storytelling and, honestly, how it totally reflects our ultimate survival traits. We're tossing out those dusty, boring textbook lessons today, okay? Instead, we're looking at literature straight through the lens of a comic book epic. We are talking intense showdowns, unyielding heroes, totally formidable villains, and the incredible cultural superpowers that just keep us moving forward. There's literally no dull moment here, so buckle up, let's go.
Imagine being thrown right into the middle of a massive life-or-death scenario. Boom! What would you actually do if a signal number 4 typhoon is physically ripping the roof off your evacuation center? Or, on a deeply personal level, what if you're a brilliant student from a farming village just fighting for a college education, but the very people around you are dragging you down saying, "Mahirap lang tayo," that you're just too poor? These aren't hypothetical. These are the very real, localized boss battles that Filipinos face every single day.
And notice something about those scenarios? None of them are peaceful. And honestly, that's exactly the point. In comic books, in literature, and in our very real lives, a perfectly peaceful day doesn't really reveal who we truly are, does it? Stories absolutely demand struggle. It's the friction, the heavy hits, and the impossible odds that make a narrative mean something. We don't find our true strength in the quiet moments. We find it right in the absolute center of the storm.
So, let's dive right into our first core concept, the heart of the story, or as I like to call it, the engine of the plot.
Here is your foundational stat card. Conflict. Conflict is literally the core struggle between opposing forces in a narrative. You've got to think of it as the roaring engine of the plot. Without it, the story goes absolutely nowhere. Conflict is the thing that cranks the emotional stakes to the absolute maximum. It's that massive collision of forces that grabs you and just refuses to let go. It carries the ultimate message of the whole adventure. So, no conflict, no story, period.
All right, now that our battleground is set, it's time to meet our heroes and villains, the true movers of the plot.
Enter the character. By definition, a character is any figure performing actions and moving the plot forward. But in our comic book style breakdown today, they are way more than just names printed on a page. Characters are the active vessels carrying our deepest cultural values straight into the fray. They are the ones taking the hits, making the impossible choices, and showing us exactly what we're made of.
Which brings us to the ultimate showdown. On one side, you have the protagonist. This is your central figure, the anchor of the story's values, your main hero just trying to save the day, or maybe just survive the week. On the other side is the antagonist. And hey, this isn't always a cackling supervillain in a cape, right? It's any force, person, or even a system that is actively blocking the protagonist. It's literally the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these figures handle the heat of battle. Check this out. A dynamic character is the hero who levels up. Through immense trials, they evolve, they learn, and they undergo a profound internal transformation by the final page. Now, contrast that with a static character. That's someone who remains completely unchanged, stubbornly refusing to grow from the very beginning to the bitter end, kind of like an immovable brick wall in the storyline. So that sets up what we call the 3 epic battles, facing the ultimate threats. Let's do a tactical breakdown of these specific clashes. First up, character versus character. It's a direct clash of motives, like 2 brilliant student leaders battling it out for the SSLG presidency, right? That tests the powers of pagpapatawad, or forgiveness, and humility. Next, character versus society. This is your epic struggle against systemic villains like poverty or prejudice. Picture a young indigenous student fighting fierce discrimination to finish your education, wielding katarungan, justice, and totally unstoppable bravery. Finally, character versus nature, the ultimate environmental boss fight. Think of our farmers battling the scorching El Niño drought, or a community forming a human chain in a flash flood. This specific clash directly forges our legendary community superpowers, katatagan, which is absolute resilience, and bayanihan, our unbreakable communal unity.
Now, revealing the inner hero. Let's talk about decoding the character.
We're talking about characterization. This is the secret artistic arsenal authors use to show us who a character truly is when the pressure is dialed all the way up. They don't just, simply tell you a hero is brave or honest. They deploy strategic methods to make you actually witness that hero's core personality exploding onto the page.
And here is the absolute cheat code they use for this. The steal method. Think of these as a hero's loaded superpower stats. S is for speech. What are they saying? T is for thoughts. What's going on inside their strategic mind? E is the effect on others. How dodoes their aura literally impact the room? A is for actions. What are their big power moves? And L is for looks. How do they present themselves to the world? Listen to this method in action and feel the intense reality of this moment. Okay, quote. Mang Jose looked at the extra change the jeepney driver mistakenly handed him. He thought of his daughter's empty lunchbox, sighed, and tapped the driver's shoulder. Kuya, sobra po ang sukli ninyo. Unquote. Wow. Just feel the immense, crushing weight of that impossible choice for a second. A few extra pesos could literally mean a meal for his child. The temptation is a massive, silent villain standing right there in front of him.
But look at what happens. Through his simple, powerful action and his honest speech, Mang Jose strikes a massive blow against temptation. He unleashes the incredible cultural superpower of Dangal, honor and integrity standing completely unshaken despite the crushing weight of poverty. Now that is peak characterization.
So, how do all these narrative elements combine? Let's look at our values in action, the ultimate team-up.
It essentially follows this rapid-fire, action-packed formula. Step 1, face the localized crisis head-on. Step 2, make a difficult, high-stakes choice. Step 3, reveal your true, unyielding collective values. The crisis basically acts as a pressure cooker, right? It strips away the mask and shows us the heroic DNA that actually holds us all together. To bring this whole thing together, we really have to recognize that these aren't just make-believe stories to pass the time. Literary texts are high-definition mirrors. The fictional showdowns on the page, the typhoons, the poverty, the rivalries, they are directly reflecting our very real collective survival. When a character overcomes an antagonist, they are actively proving the effectiveness of our shared Filipino beliefs and cultural superpowers. I want to leave you with this final high-stakes question to ponder as you step back out into the real world. How do the choices of a character, or a real person for that matter, during an absolute crisis show what they truly value in life? Next time you watch a movie, read a story, or even just watch the evening news, use your new X-ray vision. Look for the conflict, spot the true heroes, and decode the values they're fighting for. Keep your eyes wide open and never stop decoding the story. See you next time.